Welcome to the Pick Truth Podcast, where we read confessions that people send us or that we find online and rate them based on the level of heat.
A truth can range from a bell pepper to a Carolina Reaper.
All right, let's get started. Hey folks, this episode of The Truth may describe topics and or language that may be sensitive to some. Listener discretion is advised. All right, this is your girl Vicky.
And I'm LaMont.
We're here again with another episode of The Truth Podcast. I'm going to jump right in. I got two. I think both of them are Reaper.
Okay,
what do you think? What do you got?
So what I've got today, I got two as well. I definitely will say mine are probably on the lower end scale. So what I'll probably do is, since you got two Reapers, we can probably start with yours, slide my two softs in.
And then end with one? Yeah. All right, let's go. So this one is titled, I took videos of someone without their permission or knowledge. Okay, this is his. I'm going to read exactly what he says so that you all don't judge me. This is in his writing, his words. All right. Okay, I'm going to try to be as honest as possible and not sugarcoat anything. There's this person who I see regularly. We're not friends, not even acquaintances, but we see each other. I find her attractive. I also have what is probably a chronic masturbation addiction. So, on multiple occasions, I have taken videos of her without her consent or knowledge. Just to be clear, this was in a public area, an area that is monitored by cameras. I don't follow her into the bathroom or anything like that. I'm not saying that to try to justify my actions or to say, at least I didn't, or anything like that. I swear. I'm simply trying to establish context and make it clear exactly what it is that I did. I took videos of her on multiple occasions, masturbated to them, and usually deleted them after a few days or within the day due to guilt. This is actually something I did multiple times throughout high school as well. All of those videos were also deleted by choice. All of those videos were also deleted, of course, and while they were deleted out of guilt, it wasn't as profound as the shame I felt that caused me to delete these couple of videos. Maybe it's because I'm matured a bit and become more aware of other people, although clearly I'm not mature or empathetic enough to actually respect other people, not take creepy videos of them. Or it's because I feel differently about this person. At first, it was just pure infatuation or lust. And it still is that. But a part of it is more than that. I think a part of me has developed an obsessive crush on this person, and it's only made me feel more ashamed and disgusted with myself for demeaning, objectifying, and disrespecting her. I violated her privacy, and I did it with such selfish and disgusting intentions. And I want to make it clear that I'm not going to try to garner any sympathy or show that I'm a good person just because I feel guilty. I should feel this way. I deserve to feel this way. And sure, a bad person wouldn't feel any remorse, but a good person wouldn't have done it at all. Again, I don't want to sugarcoat that. In fact, let me prove just how much of a shitty person I am. I would probably do it again. I still think about doing it. I'd like to say that I respect her enough as a living, breathing, thinking human being not to treat her as an object, but I don't know if my guilt is more powerful than my lust. And I guess maybe that's why I'm posting this, to at least get some of it off my chest. But I guess I'm hoping that sharing it might make it feel less of a secret. When it's a secret, I can make the excuse that nobody knows, but hopefully talking about it will help me change my habits. So please, if you manage to make it this far, tell me your take on this whole situation. Be as brutally honest as possible.
Wow. So, bruh's a creep. Like a mad creep. Like, I don't even know how else to say that. It's weird because, like he said, he wasn't trying to defend himself, supposedly, but at the same time, he was doing a pretty good job of trying to. I don't think it worked. Let me state that. I don't care if there are public cameras. The act of you doing it directly is nasty and creepy. Like just flat out. There's no two, you know what I'm saying, two ways about that, in my personal opinion.
I can see it being very, very creepy.
Right.
And I don't think he was trying to defend himself. I really do think he was saying, like, I feel guilty and I know I shouldn't do it, but given a chance, I'm going to do it again.
I'll do it again.
Like, I would,
like any sugarcoat, but I'll do it again.
I'll do it again.
I'll do it again.
So this is why I think this was up there with a Reaper. Don't tell nobody else this. Because imagine, if you will, we don't know anything else about him. Is he in a relationship? Is he in a relationship videotaping someone and masturbating to them?
Right.
But
it's a can of worms. Like once you say this, I start to have to think of what else you may be doing. Like, I can't take photos with you. I can't talk camera with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just that idea throws me off. Like, he couldn't even go like on Disney trips where they take automatic photos. Like, that would creep me out, just because I don't know if he'd use that as an excuse to be taking pictures of animatronics up their skirts. I'm just saying.
But then it sounds terrible. But how is that different from your mind's eye, just remembering back what she looked like and then using that as a tool for your fantasy?
Well, okay. So the way I think of that is this: if I have a mental image of someone, which I believe as humans, whether people want to admit it or not, I'm sure we all have had that moment where you've had a mental image of someone. The difference there is I can't share that mental image in a way that can be visually taken from me. And by that I mean, you know what I'm saying?
It's not you did not create a tangible product that allows someone to sneak and get it, and now you watch me with your Kroger uniform, and I'm scoping you out behind the
now
bushes.
It's not being able to be spread everywhere. And I think there's a difference between the idea of a fantasy and having it directly in front of you. Like, everyone's had an image of someone either famous or someone they've seen on TV or from afar that you found attractive, and you may have had a thought of them or something like that, and that's one thing. But that's more contained in a more pure way, and I think that's only because no matter what it is, it's only in your head versus it being something that's physically out there. So in a way, I look at it like, when I look at the creep level, that is definitely a Reaper without question. But his detail makes it a tie to me. Only because he was like, well, there's already a camera there. Like, he convinced me enough. Like, if this was a court, I'd be like, bro, that was wrong. That was criminal. I am definitely judging you. Like, I'm definitely judging you. But to me, it's a Thai chili with habanero tendencies.
That's
with
funny.
A little, you know what I mean?
I don't know. So the more I think about the story, it's like, I get it. That's creepy behavior.
Yeah.
And he pleasured himself by, watching these videos and deleting them because he felt guilty.
Right. I didn't even think about that part. Like you said, he deleted them. But the fact that he said, I'll do it again. Like.
But how is that different? Well, because you know what? If I was watching pornography and he pleasured himself to pornography, these women, majority of the time, have agreed to this and know that's going to happen. So I don't know. And then I think about if I had a little sister and my little sister was getting videotaped by some creep so he could pleasure himself, I would call that a Reaper. I would say
I'd be upset if just you videotaping her in general. Like, what you did with it would be secondary only because the fact you did this without her consent in the first place. That's the problem. Because, like when you said, if you mention a porn star, just by definition of that term of porn star, most of the time this is someone who's being paid, who is doing this with the intention of it being filmed. Whereas when we're out in public, yes, we know that there are cameras that the government or the state or whoever has placed. That's one thing. But for someone else to just randomly just film you in some of your more intimate moments like that is absolutely creepy.
I can buy that. I can buy that.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to just admonish you, Mr. out there taking videos without permission. I will say this. maybe you need to get some help.
Yeah.
If this is a behavior that you want to stop, and you may need some cognitive behavior therapy so that you don't have the impulse to do that, especially if you have a chronic masturbation problem. I'm not one, or addiction, I think is what you call it, a chronic masturbation addiction.
Yeah.
I'm not one to judge anyone for their preferences or how they like to do things. I'm really not.
Yeah.
I'm so open-minded, even though pretty much this whole podcast is about judging people.
Yeah.
But I really am open-minded. So I don't think there's a problem with using video to pleasure yourself.
Yeah, of course.
The problem becomes when you obtain video footage of someone who was unwilling and unwilling participant. Yeah. So maybe go talk to a therapist. There's a lot of ways to get help. Talk to a therapist maybe about your chronic addiction, and then maybe figure out methodologies to not videotape her. And then the question is it just her? Because he did mention he did it in high school. So I'm not sure if he's known this woman since high school. Right.
There's certain information we don't have. Yeah.
Or if this is just... And then you're not friends, but are you following her? Like, how are you getting in these instances? Where are you seeing this woman
There's a gray area
that you see her so often that, like, oh, gotta get a video. And because then I'm thinking, okay, she's over there chilling on a park bench, and you over here, like, hiding your phone, videotaping her so you can use it for... Okay, it gets creepier.
It does. And maybe...
It's creepy.
Maybe you could just look up voyeur porn. I don't know. I feel like there's avenues and lanes you could go down to a little bit more clean that don't come with as many risks as this could actually have. You know what I mean? So I agree with you to an extent that is very Reaper-like for sure.
Yeah, I'm going with Reaper on that one. All right, what's one of the ones you have? What truth do you have to that?
All right, so this one's super. To me, this one's very much so a bell pepper. But I'm going to read it just because it harkens back to a time when people were young. So this one comes from Reddit. It starts off, when I was in the first grade, I would lick a girl's hair. I don't know why I did this, but whenever I would stand behind this one girl on the line, we had assigned spot, so I would stand behind her a lot. I would wait for the teacher to stop looking, and I'd lick her hair. I was once standing in line for the bathroom, and the line was really long. I was talking to my friend while waiting, and she dared me to put my ass on the wall. Being the dumbass I was, and still am, I did it. I wish I could go back in time and slap myself. So again, like I said, I feel like this was a bell pepper. Didn't have a ton to it.
Okay. I wish... I'm just trying to think what that's like. Like, you just see this girl behind you, just put your tongue in her hair and lick her hair.
Just lick it. Just get a mouthful.
First of all, okay... Hair creeps me out a little bit. So, like, if there's, like, a hair in my food, I can't eat it. Right. I cannot eat it. Like, and, I
go for, like, eyelashes and stuff, too?
No, it's usually longer hair. Like, if I know this hair came out, I don't want to think about coming from any place else. But hair in itself on my food makes me really repulsed.
Right.
But to imagine that I am intentionally behind you and I'm trying to get a taste of that sweet hair. Give me some of that red, that blonde. Let me give me some of that dark color hair. Like, what? I don't know what you're doing. And then, like, what if, she got products in her hair?
What if she had lice? Like, there's so many variables there. What if she had, like, the medication, like, like the medicated shampoo? Who's to say? Maybe her hair smelled like, some type of fruit. Maybe her mom used Pantene or, I don't know all the names, but one of the fruit smelling ones, maybe he was hungry. Maybe he had an issue at home where he wasn't
getting food. But he did it all the time, so...
Yeah, see, I was trying to give him an out.
And then is it just one girl that he's doing this to? Like,
Well, I mean, they said he had assigned spots, so it seemed like she was set up with this. I wonder when she, or if she ever noticed. Because you would assume it was like a cowlick spot.
Maybe she had long hair. I don't even want to think about it. Could you turn around and you see somebody's mouth open like, oh, what the?
I might have to pop him. That's definitely.
That's where it starts. I think licking hair is where it starts. Tell me how many people out there, have you ever licked somebody's hair and just randomly, just walked up behind somebody and was like, both of us have dreadlocks. So LaMont and I both have dreadlocks. So I can't imagine my hair down. All of a sudden, I turn around and somebody has a lock in their mouth. Like,
somebody's going to town chewing on my lock.
Go num 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 num.
Yo, we don't have problems, big problems. I don't even know, but I don't know if I could fight. I don't know if someone with that level of intention is somebody you should really be messing with, though. Like, this was a first grader, so there's an argument to say, okay, first grader doing some kind of weird stuff.
What's the pica?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's kind of like a pica thing. Yeah. So it would be interesting to see what else he did as he got older. But pica people do put things in their mouths and eat things that aren't edible. And so, yeah, that is an absolute possibility. An absolute possibility.
So what would you rate that one?
Oh, it's creepy. I'd give it a Poblano.
Okay.
Because, like, yeah, it could be irritating. Like, could you imagine if you learned, oh, hey, girl, back in first grade, I used to lick your hair. That would be like...
Yeah, I'd be grossed out. There's no question. I'd have a lot of questions and concerns about why you felt the need to go to town on my head like that.
All right. Well, I got another one. This one's a long one, and it's and I believe it is a Reaper. So we'll get into it. This one is titled, "The car crash was my sister's fault, not the guy who ended up being blamed, and I lied for her." I never used Reddit before, but after hearing so much about the confession board, I thought I could finally ease my conscience a little by saying the truth about the car crash me and my sister were involved with. I will keep it simple. Me and my sister, who was driving, were driving from my grandmother's house home through the city. Mind you, it was evening and not too busy. I don't know why we had fought, but I know we were sitting in silence. No one was saying anything. I was immersed in my own thoughts and just kind of looking ahead. But when you zone out and you don't really see what you're looking at, like that. I saw in the corner of my eyes, my sister was typing on her phone, as she often does. I think she was 19 at the time. It's been a while. I was also one to be overly cautious and always told her to stop playing around on her phone, but this time I didn't. I should have. But like I said, we weren't talking because of some trivial fight. So we drove along this long hill. The street dipped in orange, and suddenly I see this white cab turning left. I remember thinking, aren't we heading towards this car? It was strange because, as stupid as it sounds, it was slightly slow motion, but not really. Before I could even open my mouth or think of warning my sister, I took a deep breath. I knew on the inside I had to brace myself for impact. It was the instinct, I guess. And sure enough, it came. Next thing I know, there was smoke everywhere, and I just see the inflated airbag, which is, to my surprise, very thin. I touched it slightly, trying to organize my thoughts, and I looked over to my sister. She was okay. She choked out, probably in shock. "Are you okay?" Don't tell them, please, promise me." I said nothing. I just looked at her as she pleaded. I knew what she meant. She meant, don't tell them she was on the phone, not paying attention. The cars both were totaled. This is in itself bad, right? But you see, the taxi driver had also made a mistake. He had made an illegal turn. Yes, illegal, but there was not much traffic, and he was trying to get to the other side of the road to where his client had lived, an elderly lady. Okay, now you may think it's okay, so that's bad, but where is the guilty part? There were witnesses, a nice couple who ran to my sister's defense. A taxi driver was shouting at her that she should have been paying attention. He didn't know about the phone. The witness hadn't seen the phone either. They had only seen the cab pulling over the straight line. So that's the narrative that continued. The taxi driver got all the blame. We got all the insurance because it wasn't our fault. Of course, I've had to give a statement. I lied for my sister. My sister, who was working towards becoming a bus driver for the government here. In my country, those are very, very well-paid jobs, mainly to make my father proud.
Wow.
Texting and driving is a reaper. And it's a reaper for that very reason.
Absolutely.
Texting and driving is bad.
I mean, it can cost a life. Thank God this story didn't.
I know. And there was an elderly lady in the back seat.
Imagine she'd have been in the, there's different variables there. I can't say the story is a reaper. I can't say him confessing or lack of him telling on her was necessarily the reaper portion. I say the reaper was more his sister's decision and being so flippant with her own life, her brother's life, and then the life of others was definitely the reaper portion of that. As far as directly rating what he did, I don't know if he would have been able to necessarily get the story changed when you had witnesses and everything else there. So I don't really know if there was a benefit to that because the guy was wrong. And yes, 2 wrongs don't make a right, but in this case, you'd be saying 3 wrongs because the sister was wrong for driving and being on her phone. The guy was wrong for making an illegal turn, and then he was wrong for not telling the truth. But he also can't speak for what was happening in the cab driver's vehicle.
Right.
So while he could have told on his sister, it could have just been something, and I don't know which state they were in or however, what country they were in, how they decide that. But in Kentucky, it's a no fault.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on how those things work, a lot of different things can occur. So in that instance, absolutely, that's a reaper. Just because, like you said, driving and texting or playing on your phone, whatever it may be, whatever it is, please, people, it can wait. There's no reason to let that be something that can happen. So yeah, I would say that's a reaper.
So I know this is kind of off topic, but when we think about confessions, what do you think the brother or sister, the individual who wrote this confession, what do you think they get from confessing?
I mean, trying to put myself in their shoes, I assume some type of reprieve from that emotional baggage that they felt. Like that may have weighed on them. I mean, there's information there that we don't know about, whether it's, continued issues maybe for that cab driver, could be, certain scars. He may even have what I'm saying? Like in car accidents, he could have a scar or something that he sees and kind of flashes it back. And maybe not telling someone has just weighed on him for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a tick. You get a tick on you, it's small, but then as it keeps engorging itself, which is, as you know, ticks, they will just engorge till they're just stuffed. And it could be that it was weighing on him in that way, that it was just swelling and it was growing on him. And instead of it being something that he could get relief from, he needed to tell someone. And even though he knew probably going to police or someone else wouldn't have made a difference at this point, because there wasn't a death or anything like that, just being able to get that information out to someone probably alleviated some of that from him.
So I think there's some out there that would say you never tell on a family member under any circumstances. Yeah. And so that this is a bell pepper because, hey, you don't tell on your family.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they do, that's your sister. You keep that in the family.
You don't.
Yeah, exactly. So I think some of you all would rate this as a bell pepper. Like we get it, but it was your sister. And then some of us would rate it as a reaper because you're texting and driving. But this particular person's behavior, I don't know.
Right. Because
what I've told on my brother, if he was texting and driving, we're in an accident, I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd be confessing too. I may not have told. If everyone else was blaming the other person, I ain't going to say a word because I don't want to get my brother in trouble. Yeah. Because I have a relationship with him. Mm-hmm. But then it goes into the question, my integrity. Right. What level of integrity do you have that you would allow a lie to continue? That's why I don't judge people, because I don't know what I don't know what I would do in that moment.
Yeah, it's hard to say unless you're in that.
Except I wouldn't text and drive, but I don't know what I would do in that moment because my sibling would come first.
Yeah, it'd be easier and I try to do the same as you said. Like I try to think of myself in that position, and I say I would probably not tell, but only because based on the information they gave us, if everyone is already positioning the story one way. Mm-hmm. It would be hard for me to just be the contrarian and be like, no, it happened this way. Only because the cab driver was not innocent in this situation. It's one thing for you to be going straight and the other person have a stop sign and they run it and hit your car. Then that's different. Even if she was on her phone, if she was supposed to be going straight and the other person was on straight where they had a stop sign, that person who ran the stop sign is still wrong as well. Mm-hmm. So I would probably not say anything either, but I may need to get it off my chest just because this person may just be in a place where they're trying to repent or whatever it may be.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely.
All right.
So my final one, hopefully this brings a little levity to the situation. This one's also coming from Reddit, And the title is I Switched Price Stickers to Get an Item for a Better Price. I've never stolen anything from any store ever. I've never even been tempted to. I'm not sure why I just did this, or if it was even worth the guilt risk. I was shopping at Target and found a belt in the clearance section that I really liked, and it was on sale for only $5, but it wasn't in my size. I found the exact same one a couple racks down in my size, but noticed that it was only marked down a couple bucks, selling for $8. I decided to switch the stickers on them. It was only a couple bucks in the end, but I wouldn't have bought the belt for $8, so I made sure no one was around, quickly switched the clearance stickers, and put the other one back on the shelf. To be clear, if this was anything other than a major chain like Target, Walmart, etc., I would have never even considered this. But I mean, Target brings in plenty of revenue, and I'm 100% positive nobody's ever going to notice $3. Was this super terrible of me? It was the same belt. I feel like if one of them was selling for $5, they both should have been. Maybe it was a mistake. I don't know, but I'm still feeling pretty guilty about it.
Okay, I have a theory on this.
Uh-huh.
You should feel guilty. Stop stealing, people. Just because there's a major corporation doesn't mean that it should be okay to steal from them. It's just like, I appreciate that, okay, as a small business, I wouldn't have done it. Okay?
Right.
I get that. Yay. But no, you should.
It doesn't necessarily make it right.
It doesn't make it right. And I think we want to have these levels of okay or not okay. Stealing. Yeah. Now, if she was stealing, I will say this. If she stole some bread because her kids were hungry, I'm going to let that pass. Right. But you stole a belt.
Yeah.
Well, you took $3 off a belt. And really, Listen, I don't know your financial situation, so $3 might have been a big deal for that belt. But I will say this. It's stealing.
Yeah.
And we can't just justify stealing because it's a big corporation.
Yeah.
But then, okay, what does that make it? Is it a Reaper? Heck no.
No. That's why I was like, no, it's definitely. It's definitely not that high.
Is it I would probably give it a Poblano. It's just a little bit. It irritates me when people steal because it ends up making us have to pay more, and that's just a whole long diatribe.
Yeah.
But if you disagree with me, let me know.
And there's people who will. Like in a way, I could say at the age I'm at now and my understanding now, I look at it going, it's just wrong. And I understand people's position when they talk about big corporations because whether we like talking about it or not, of course, people say that corporations steal from us all the time, whoever's in control. But a lot of that, unfortunately, is due to the laws and everything else that are in place that allow them to manipulate the system. So it's not really stealing as much as them just benefiting from the rules that are currently labeled as they are. And again, that's not excusing it, but one of the benefits we have is that collectively we can make changes to those things if we so put in the effort. It doesn't always work. I don't want everyone to think I'm saying that as a catch-all, but like you said, that does raise prices for things. And yes, companies do raise prices for stuff just in general. This kind of makes me think of Netflix. I was reading an article recently where Netflix is going to be cracking down on people sharing accounts. And see, that's one I find interesting because that's one of the few places where most people, even if they talked about quote unquote stealing, they don't hold that same opinion when it comes to that. Why'd you turn?
I'm turning my head. Y'all can't see me turn my head because I'm not going to confirm or deny if I share my Netflix password. After let me get off my high horse of don't steal from corporations. And then you're going to talk about Netflix. Quit meddling.
Oh, my bad.
What's to say if it hurts, say ouch.
Right. Hey.
But I thought Netflix initially encouraged sharing. And now they're not. That's what I thought. But I could have just made that lie up to feel justified in case I ever wanted to share my Netflix password.
If you ever so did.
If I did.
Right.
I'm not saying I do.
Because there's no proof.
Because I ain't saying I don't.
Right.
I'm not confessing.
Who said you got Netflix? You know what I'm saying?
I do got Netflix because I watch stuff. But I don't sharing my credentials with others.
Yeah.
That... Yeah.
Listen, my friends know my email. I get what you said. Like, listen, I've shared email conversations with friends before, so they know my email. And if someone just happened to guess the password, okay, that's fine. It happens.
And then, okay, so I would give myself if I shared mine.
Right. This is hypothetical.
I would go with Poblano.
Okay.
But then my admonishment to this young lady for changing the price on the belt, my bad.
Yeah.
See, look at that. I can be wrong.
Look at that change in one episode.
Because again, I look at it from what I think is okay.
Yeah.
So I got on my high horse. Don't steal. But then, like, are you gonna break up Netflix in front of all these people? Like,
but that's a line that we all, as humans, we all do. Like, it's no different than anything else. Like, a company will look at it, whether people like it or not. There was another aside on this. There was another video where a gentleman was doing Uber Eats. He was a driver for Uber Eats, and he ended up having to pay $3 to park to pick up someone's food. And he was saying that he was only getting paid $2.50 for this delivery, and then the tip that he got was $1.50. And his argument was that the person who did not tip is why he's going to end up not being able to afford his rent. And I've always been kind of on the side of this, that it's always annoyed me that in the States we have actively made tipping the way that people get paid for food services in particular. Now, that's not to say I don't tip. I do tip. I don't do it begrudgingly. I just tip because I do want to do my part. My mom worked in catering and all that stuff for over 25 years. So naturally, I grew up understanding. But I will say, I think it's kind of selfish because we have now changed the rhetoric from companies need to pay their employees a competitive wage to, if you can't afford to tip X amount of dollars to someone who's serving you food, then don't go out to eat. Mm-hmm. It's putting all the onus on the customer, whereas the person at Walmart who goes in the back and is checking through a bunch of boxes for you for an item that isn't on the floor, we don't tip. The person at the airport who is going and doing baggage and all this stuff normally isn't getting tipped by each person getting their bags. The person who's the mechanic isn't getting tipped. There's so many other jobs that have direct one-on-one interaction or results that we don't tip on, but we've allowed this one industry in particular to put it almost 100% on the customer to be responsible, and it feels wrong in that instance to me.
It feels wrong, but you still tip.
Yeah, I'm still going to tip.
You know what it's like for the plight of the waitress. And,
most definitely.
Yeah, I tip. It's probably not a good way, but it starts at 15%, and it works its way up and down depending on the service.
I think that's fair. I know some people get mad about it, and I mean, I've had discussions with friends who worked in that industry for a long time, and they feel that tipping should just be a thing across the board. But their argument was that food prices would go up if they did that way, and I'm like, well, based on some of the economics and discussions that have been had from a lot of these restaurants, the prices already kept getting hiked anyway. It's no different than when you talk about milk or anything else that is raised exceedingly over the years, where they've actually found more ways to create to have more cows and more eggs and those things, but the prices have still risen.
Yeah, inflation, monster.
It just doesn't inflate in our pockets. I don't know.
Did you say what you rate this one as? What would you give this?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I would say it's about a Poblano.
Yeah,
for me there, because it's not enough to be. It's not bland. It's not nothing. There is a definite gray area there that I think shouldn't be so gray in how he's saying it tonally. I think it is wrong. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's an irritant that is so bad that it's that spicy. So it's definitely just an irritant.
I can get down with that. All right. It looks like that was the last confession for this episode. So if you like today's show, help us out. Subscribe. Stop what you're doing and hit subscribe right now, and then send this show to 2 of your friends and let us know, what do you think about today's confessions, today's truths? Do you agree with the way that we assessed it, or do you have a different opinion? Do you have a truth yourself that you want to share with us and kind of hear what the world thinks? We'd love to know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you do have any, send those to us at picktruthmail@post.com. We'd be glad to read them, and you never know, they may end up on the show.
All right, thanks. Till next time.
Later. We can't pick truth without you.
Send us your truths at picktruthmail@post.com to see if you can bring the heat.